Hey guys, Megan here with REACHRIGHT. I'm going to walk you through just how to make some basic edits on your REACHRIGHT website. So when you first log into your website, you get taken to the dashboard, which is just the back end of the website. So it looks just like this. So a couple different options of how to get into your site, into your different pages. So you can either go to your pages here where it's going to obviously show you your list of pages. This takes you to the home page. So I find it easier if you're on the page that you're wanting to edit. So let's say I'm going to make some edits on this page. A couple ways to get here. It's easier if you hover over the X. So we do have two different themes. So if you don't see an X on your website, you might see Pro. That's just depending on what theme your website was built on. So you either have Pro or you have X. So you're going to hover over Pro and go to Edit Page. If you have X theme, you are just going over the X and hitting Edit Page. Both of those are taking you directly into Cornerstone, which is the platform that we use to build your pages. So once this loads on both of these, you're going to see this is the visual side of your website over here, and then the text editor is over here. So when you find, like, let's say I'm going to edit this headline here, I'm going to actually click on it. It's going to bring up all of these options over here. So the main thing that we're going to be editing is literally just the text, which is here. It says click to edit the text. You click it. This is where you would change what you, I can't spell, what you want it to say. Literally as you're typing, you can see it change over here. So that way you can kind of see in the layout, this is what it's going to look like. So you can make those changes directly within, okay? So same thing over here. Like I said, these are using Cornerstone, so there's absolutely no difference if you have X theme or Pro theme. Cornerstone works the same. It just looks a little different with how you get in here. You know, same thing, if I want to edit this text blurb here, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to edit the text here, or I'm going to maybe add to. I really can't spell today. So if we want to change the size, we're going to scroll down a little bit. I have noticed on my options, they're saved. On yours, when you first log in, they might not be. So if you don't see some of these options here, you can go down here to the cog gear. We're going to click on that. Make sure that your preferences are turned on. This advanced mode needs to be on, otherwise you lose some of these edit options. So if you don't see, you know, your text formats and things like that, let's go into those preferences and make sure they're on. But down here toward the bottom is where you're going to find your text options. So here I can change the color of my text, and as you'll see it right there, it went ahead and changed it to red. You can change the size either by using the bar here, or obviously just text. Use the numbers and kind of play with it there, just depending on what you want to accomplish. You can make it all capital, you can make it italic, you can underline it, all those basic things that you would see like in a Word document, you can do that here. You just kind of can play around with it. So biggest thing with when you're in here is not to be afraid to play around. Okay, so Cornerstone does not save any of your changes unless you push save. Save is way down here in the lower left-hand corner, so it's kind of hidden for a reason. So, which I kind of like. So that kind of keeps you guys from being afraid to get in here and mess with stuff. If you wanted to move some things around, it's a click and drag. So I'm going to grab this headline here and I'm going to move it down here. It's not going to let you move it anywhere where it can't go. You can even pull it into a whole nother, you know, your sections below. So if I want to go ahead and move it, let's say that I need a new headline that isn't there already. If you want to go ahead and keep the formatting, like this is already the size, color, everything that I need, easiest thing to do would be to just hit the duplicate button up here. It's just going to literally make a copy of that, and then I can go ahead and move this somewhere else, and then, you know, change what this one says. Okay, so this one might say like contact information. So pretty easy to play around with, okay? So don't be afraid to get in here and, you know, mess around with headlines and text. If we're going to be changing out any photos, so I'll go over here on this one just since he's got photos available on this page. Pretty much the same thing. I'm going to click on the picture that's shown. It's going to bring it up in a tiny thumbnail over here. If we want to change this picture, we're going to click the X to kind of remove it, and then we can click the plus sign. It's going to take you directly to your media library. So if there's already a photo back here that you want, you just click on it, hit insert into post, and it has changed it out. Okay. If you need to grab a photo from your computer, you can just go to upload files and obviously pull it in from, you know, your computer. Okay. So very simple. Okay. So that's kind of the quickie on changing out text and photos. If we're going to, like, I've had a lot of questions about how to add buttons. You obviously have a button somewhere on your website that's already customized with your colors, sizing, things like that. So the easiest thing to do would be to be on the page that you want a button. So let's say that I want a prayer, a contact button down here. The easiest thing to do instead of starting over, because if I create a new button, you can go into elements. And obviously, as you guys get comfortable with, you know, getting in here and trying to see what things you have, you'll look around. All of these elements you can use. You can use an alert. This is more like a banner style. This kind of is used. I've had a lot of clients use that for if they're, you know, closed for weather or something like that, because you can obviously make the background red if you're trying to say, hey, we have a big announcement kind of thing. But here's your button. So let's just say I'm going to add one. If you just take a basic button, it's not customized yet. It's literally going to be white. There's no customization on here. So you know, if you already have your website going, your buttons are already here. So I find the easiest thing to do would be choose the button that you know, it looks the way that you want. Let's duplicate that. Okay. And then we just click and drag it where we want it to go. And as you'll see, you see how there's the gray box? It kind of shows you where you can put it. You can't put it in between things. So if I let it go right here, it's not going to go anywhere. If I put it where it shows me, hey, it's going to fit here, it's going to fit here, or I can put it here. Okay, and then obviously we can center everything. So when you're editing a button, obviously our styling is the way that we want it, but again, we're going to go over here to edit everything inside the button. So your URL is obviously where the button is going. If you are linking somewhere on your own website, you don't have to put the entire URL. So you would not need to put edwardstheme1wpengine.com/watch live. We only take the last bracket of that URL. Okay, so that's just obviously if you're going outside your website, you can just go to, you know, if I'm going to go grab, let's say I'm going to grab one of these other YouTube videos that we've made, you can literally copy and paste that entire URL into the button. As we scroll down a little bit, then you're going to find your text setup. So this is what the button says. Okay, so this would be, you know, something like YouTube channel. And again, as you type, as you change this, it's going on this side. Okay. Size, text font, or text color, all of that stuff is again over here. So these things are pretty simple to do. So I kind of just wanted to show you how to do a few quick things. Now, there are a couple other things that you can learn to do on the site, or different ways that I've noticed people getting into their pages. So if I want to see what this looks like live before I save it, or I'm sorry, you do have to save, but you can do this little arrow outside the box. This just takes you back to the full screen page, okay? And as you'll see, because I have saved nothing, my button is not there, okay? So unless you hit save, you're not going to see any changes. So let's just say everything I did, I don't want to save, I screwed something up, or yeah, I don't want to do that. You can just literally close this. It's going to say, hey, your changes have not been saved. Obviously, if you didn't mean to leave, you can say cancel. If you want to leave without saving, you just say leave. Okay, and then nothing that we did is going to stay on the website. Another way to get onto into your page to edit is actually to go to edit page. This is the part that I have found people are kind of getting a little confused on. So if we go to edit page, this actually takes you to the WordPress editor, which obviously looks a little different. So this is actually all of your Cornerstone elements, as you can see, but it's written out in code. Okay, so this is saying Cornerstone content. So we really do not want to mess with anything on this page through this way. Okay, so yes, I can change the content here. Here's our photos. This is not the way to edit in Cornerstone. We want to scroll all the way down, and then we want to edit with Pro. Okay, it's asking me that because I clicked inside that WordPress. So always edit with Pro. Same thing over here. Your button is going to look a little different because you don't have Pro, you just have X theme. So I just clicked edit page. Again, you are going to see the entire page laid out in the WordPress block editor, which we don't want to mess with. Scroll all the way down. Here we go, edit with Cornerstone. Yes. And then obviously we will get back to where we were inside the page. Okay, so pretty simple. Don't be afraid to get in here and, like I said, edit, duplicate things. It's a lot easier to make a copy of things than to start over from scratch. All of these elements you have at your disposal if you feel like getting in here and messing around, but nothing is customized to your brand unless you pull it out and customize it. So like even this line, if I want to make here's a red line, if I pull out one from here, it's going to be the default. It's going to be this gray color. It's going to be fatter than I want. So yes, you obviously can go in here and change it to be red. I can go ahead and change it to be, as thick or as thin as I want to. But because I already have one, it would have been easier and saves you a little bit of time to duplicate what we have already done for you and not worry about, does it look the same as everything else? Okay. Because same thing, if I go add just a regular headline, it has not been customized to the rest of my site. So it literally is just the default headline. So yeah, I'll go in here, change what this says. But then I also have to, scroll all the way down and change this to a headline. If you had, bold and stuff like that, that would be an option. And then obviously I've got to figure out what size is this, etc. So like I said, easier to duplicate things if you can. If you are on a page where something is already there, duplicate it and save. So I hope this was super helpful on how to just make some basic content changes. Obviously, you feel free to obviously reach out to us, and we, of course, can walk you through how to do anything that you're looking to do on your website.